This is my 3,000 mile review of my 2021 Mustang Mach 1 with the handling package. This has 3,000 miles, and it has the Recaro seats, has a 10-speed auto, painted Brembo brake calipers, B&O sound system, and I think that's all. It's pretty much fully loaded. The sticker's about 65,000. 3,000 miles in. I haven't done any modification. It has the Cup 2 tires, the adjustable camber plates, and the different, the handling pack differences. The biggest thing is probably the 10-speed auto. I love it, but let's talk about it. Let's go into the video. This is probably the best looking, most fun car as far as a Mustang. I mean, I guess the GT500, I haven't owned a GT500 or GT350, but as far as a hop into a car and just go, it's just a very special car. It's very unique. Everyone loves this car. People just, dads with their family come up and ask you what it is. People take photos at the red light. It's just like a real, everyone just loves it. People that aren't into cars like it. They just see it and they just love it. So I'm going to put on the GoPro. We just did a little cold start, and then we're going to just drive around and talk about, how fun the car is. My impressions after 3,000 miles. To be honest, there hasn't really been anything that's gone wrong with the car, and it's just been all fun. It's just been an eye-catching, fun to cruise. Sound system is really good. Seats are comfortable. It drives like, if you've ever driven a hot hatch like a Fiesta ST or a Focus ST, it handles like a track car. It's ready to roll. Like it handles like a track car. The 15 GT Performance Package 1, they're not in the same league. It's like comparing a little track car to a sedan. It's not even in the same category. So those of you guys that just say the Mach 1 handling package is, if you haven't driven a GT350R or a GT500, you've only driven Mustang GTs, you don't really know what you're talking about, because I drove a 15 GT Performance Package 1 for like 7 years, and I thought, but after I drove this, it's a whole different thing. So it really is a whole different, completely different car. So you hop in, you push the button, you go. 10-speed auto sounds good, fires right up. You have the quiet mode exhaust. But let's go on a little drive, and I'll talk about a couple of the things that are a little bit different about the car. I did notice a little smoke on the cold start, and I don't know what that's from exactly, if it's just a little bit, if it's gonna stop doing that after it's broken in a little bit. I haven't changed the oil. I'm just gonna drive this car as the factory recommends. I'm gonna do the oil change when they recommend. I'm not gonna be anal in 500 mile interval, because I just really don't want them twisting on the drain pan and messing up the plug, and then taking the belly pan under and have them open up the door and get their pants all in my Recaros and then ding the door. Who knows? So I would really just rather do it myself. So I might just do it myself. I'm particular about my car, but I also do just want to drive it and have fun. So yeah, this car is just, it's just a lot of fun. So let's start it up. So it's still in quiet mode because it's under 9 a.m. Yeah, as you can see there, quiet mode. So I'll put on the GoPro and let's take it for a little drive. All right, we're setting off. The exhaust is in quiet mode. I've got the shifter in D, so suspension is normal, exhaust quiet, drive mode normal. Essentially, this is just how you drive if you're just gonna head off. And I'll drive like this if I'm just trying to get a little bit better gas mileage, or I'm just wanting to listen to the radio and not hear the exhaust or something like that. But essentially, look at all these potholes. You kind of want to miss these, to be honest. Looks like I'm warming up for the Indy 500, but it is a little bit low in the front, and then those 30 series tires, 30 profile tires, hit those bumps pretty good. But in normal mode, it still feels good. Here, let's listen to the exhaust in quiet mode. It still sounds awesome if you ask me. So quiet exhaust and just in drive. So the throttle response isn't quite as intense. It doesn't just kick down and downshift as soon as you breathe on the throttle. It's more moderate. essentially the tip in on the throttle response isn't as intense. The biggest difference is if you have sport mode on, where you pull the shifter down into S, it will be a lot more throttle responsive. So okay, so what's been wrong? What's happened to this car since I've owned it? It has 3,000 miles on it. Basically nothing. There's nothing to even talk about, to be honest. I've had a couple like rock chips, I guess. Even if that, the biggest thing is just like that I'm living in a apartment complex, so it sits outside. Where I used to live in LA had a parking garage that was covered and gated, but this is out in the elements, and in Nashville it rains a lot, and it's like 90 degrees. It's like really sunny, so the paint is getting a lot of heat and sunlight, and the interior is getting a lot of sunlight. And I just park it in the back, where it's a very like rounded parking area, so the parking spaces are like this. So actually, if someone opened their door, they couldn't even ding the door if they wanted to, really. So I just park kind of in an area where it can't get door dinged. But as far as protecting the paint, can't really do much about it right now. So it's actually good, because I won't be so crazy about trying to make it perfect. The only thing I would say is I'm driving now, you can press on, if you look down at the speedo gauge, I'm gonna press the lane control. So I just took it off, and then you can click it back on. So if you have this lane control assist, what it'll do, it will basically adjust your steering. It's reading the lines on either side, and it will adjust the steering based on, if I just let the steering wheel go, it's gonna light up, and it just self-corrected. So it just corrected the steering wheel for me. So with the Cup 2s, with the fact that it tram lines and that it has a self-correcting steering, then you're gonna have a lot of feedback in the steering wheel. That's the only thing that I'd say that's somewhat annoying. But if you're like doing a vlog like this, and sometimes your mind is on what you're talking about, I'll leave it on, because it will let you know if you're gonna run into the person in front of you. So if you're speaking and your subconscious is not, you know, working as it should, and you're about to wreck, it'll help you there. So sometimes I'll just kind of keep that on if I'm being foolish and playing with my phone while I'm driving or something. I do see a little smoke on startup when I start the car up. It's like just a little light puff, and a lot of people would put on a, see, there's debris on the road. There's always debris on these highways out here. A lot of people would put on a catch can, but I don't want to pop the hood every 3,000 miles and empty out oil and get it on my hands and I don't want to have to maintain anything on this car. I just want to jump in and drive it. See, I'm gonna turn the lane assist off. There's ruts in this road, and it's gonna pull my wheels either direction, and then it's gonna self-correct. So like, if I let go, there's a car on my, there's not a car, I'm gonna let go of the wheel. Like, it'll literally just, did you see that? That's how bad the ruts are on this. Like, watch this, it's crazy. It literally will just pull, it'll just pull the wheel over. So I'm gonna get out of this lane because it's crazy. There's like ruts from weather or the cement settling or just having heavy trucks drive on it, I guess. I don't know anything about concrete architecture, engineering, or highway systems, but there's big ruts in the road from wear and tear, I guess, and it will just pull the steering wheel out of your hands, as you can see. There's a slight puff on startup. Like I said, I don't want to put a catch can on the car, then have to empty it every 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles. I don't want to do that. Who wants to pop the hood, empty the catch can, put on glove, get your hand, I just want to jump in the car and go, right? If I wanted a project car where I had to do things to it, I would just buy I'd have a second car. I'd have a Prius and a project car or something like that. This is kind of trying to be my do-it-all car. I don't really want to have to be modifying it, and I just want it to be, that's the whole point of this as being a daily driver, is just hop in and go. So, you know, if I was really worried about it, then I would have changed the oil already at 500 miles. But let's be honest, I will keep this car for 2 years, maybe 5, maybe 10, and the engine, I probably won't see 100,000 miles on it, and the next owner probably won't see it until, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna run the car until the engine blows up. So, I mean, like, when was the last time you blew up an engine, by the way? Unless you're rated R cars or Stang mode, and you're really, rated R, I think that's the name of his channel. He has like a GT, I think his motor blew up on his GT350. That was kind of another reason why, you know, I mean, if I could have just walked in and got a GT350, and boom, and they would finance it easy, and it was just an in and out procedure, I didn't have to use any of my cash to buy it, then great. But, you know, that's not the case. This was just accessible, easily accessible, in and out. I was in and out in like 3 hours, traded the cars. That's why I paid over sticker. I didn't mind doing the deal. It was quick, fast, easy, done, and move on with life, right? Now, that's kind of how you do things when you can do it like that, which I wasn't always where I could do it like that. But now that I am, I used to make fun of people like that. Like, what an idiot, you just lost a bunch of money, essentially, right? Like, you just lost, you know, like, I could have sold the 15 for like, you know, probably, I don't know, you know, $3,000 or $5,000 more, and then I would have to have like, you know, 5 or 10 people come over and look at it, and then wait for the check to clear, and then, you know, you've got strangers coming over, and you got to let a bunch of people sit in your car and drive it like, you know, like you wouldn't drive it, you know, maybe burn the clutch. I've had a guy come test drive it, like, and he acted like, you know, he was just roughing it up a bit, and I kind of didn't like that. So, I didn't really want someone to come do that. Just trade it off. Don't let me know about what you're doing. And, you know, let's put it in Sport Plus mode though. Now we're at the red light. We're just cruising. There's another Mustang, 5-liter. Coyote, looking good. So it looked like some people were doing some donuts out here. So that's the reason I traded in the way I traded it in. I essentially just wanted to have a fast transaction, get in and out, and I realized it could be a business expense and opportunity to help grow the channel. So the extra monthly monthly payment that I was gonna do, I didn't want to tie up cash and invest it in a car. I wanted to finance it, and I had, you know, the other one was paid off, so I just swapped them in and out, and I paid a little bit just for the transaction to be fast, and I was fine with that. So that's, you know, a lot of people say you paid too much and it's not worth it, and I hear all the time people say it's just another it's a Mustang GT with a da-da-da-da. But that, okay, so what's a GT500 then? It's a Mustang GT with a supercharged 5.2 and DCT. And I mean, like, that argument's not really good, because they're all just a Mustang chassis with different parts bolted onto them. You realize, like, that's all they are. Each car is the same thing. Like, each car is literally just a GT350 was you know, the highest iteration at the time, and then they took all the GT350 parts with the Coyote motor and put them all on this, basically, and the 350R. Everything they've learned from the 500, the 350R, they're essentially the best of the best. They put it on this, and they just kept the long block, the heads and the bottom end from the GT, and replaced the upper end from the 350. So it's like, it's kind of silly. Like, you kind of don't know what you're talking about if you say that. It just kind of shows that you haven't driven one, so you don't really know what's going on there. But yeah, so I hear people say that it's also too expensive, but of course people would say that, right? So yeah, so as far as my experience, I just don't want to take the catch can on and off and have a maintenance item. Like, if I could drive this thing without having to change the oil, I would do that. But you know, you want to do that at, they say 10,000. We'll see if the light comes on at like 5 or 7, since it's the first oil change. But yeah, so now we have it down into sport mode. Oh, what I was getting at is like, when was the last time you drove the engine until the engine blew up? You know, it's very rare that you'll just drive the car until the motor fails due to from driving it so long that the piston rings wear out. Do you get it? Like when was the last time you saw a car motor fail because of wear and tear, as far as like, you know, you didn't change the engine oil and then the engine just locked up? When was the last time you saw a Coyote that just locked up from lack of engine? Like they didn't change the oil at 3,000 or 5,000 or frequent enough and the engine just locked up. It's not very common. So just change the oil regularly. Like don't go over 10,000, but just do the regular intervals and you're not gonna have any problems. This car will last 250, probably 350, who knows. But this car will probably be, everything will be electric, and it will probably have 7 owners by the time it gets to 200,000 miles. You realize that, right? So that's why after owning all these different cars, there's a nice S197 with a wrap. After owning a lot of these different cars, you just kind of realize you can be OCD about it. There's that car wash. I really would like to buy that and like rehab it, because it's always just dirty. It's always just junky and dirty, and there's just trash bags are always full. The faucets are like leaking. When you're spraying your car, they're leaking. It's just a total mess over there. If they turned and cleaned that thing up, and I saw Titans football players over there the other day. I mean, it's like people really want to use that car wash, but the owner just does not keep it tip-top shape. So yeah, so after owning all those cars, I realized that not being OCD about every little thing, about always keeping it like completely clean no matter what. Just wash it once a week, once every 10 days. You know, wipe out the inside with a cloth, with a one of those cloths that you dry the car with that are really soft, and microfiber. Wipe it down once a week. Wipe the inside. Don't put anything on it. You just wipe it down to keep the inside clean. Wash the outside. Make sure you have a good soap on it, and then just kind of wipe off the debris. Then spray it off and dry it off with a nice microfiber. Do that once a week, once every 10 days, and then just you don't have to be so crazy about it. Just be good enough, and your car will be nice and look good and be clean. And you'll, like when I traded in the 2015. Everybody in Nashville waves if you have a nice car. It's hilarious. It's awesome. I really like it. Unlike LA, like in LA, you would pull up and there'd be another Mustang and they just stare at you. I'd wave. I'd give them the one finger, the old 2 finger, and they just kind of like they don't even know what that is. They're just used to like so much competition. There's so much competition in LA. They hate it if you're like, I don't know. They just don't even see you. It doesn't even register in their brain. So anyways, I was getting on about something, who knows what. I was just ranting. But so far, I really love this car. I mean, it's just, oh, what I've learned. Being OCD, you can be, there's the Pareto principle. Like you get 80% of the results by doing 20% of the thing. So 20% effort for 80% results would just be like wash it. Just like, not like an idiot, just wash it just with a good microfiber. Don't scratch it all up. Just be normal and just learn some real basic car washing skills, which would be just like use a clean microfiber and dry it off with a really clean, freshly washed microfiber, and don't press down on it to scratch it. Just wash it once every week or 2, and that's it. Wipe down the inside microfiber. That's the 80-20 rule. You know, like overdoing it would be like extremely like worrying about, you know, like paying $1,500 for like a ceramic coating and da-da-da-da-da. That's great, but when you go sell the car in 3 years like you are gonna do, because all these Mustang guys are constantly selling their cars every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, they're not gonna give you more money unless you sell it private. You might be able to get that $1,500 back, but what I'm saying is, like, when I traded in my car, I essentially, I was so OCD with keeping that car dent-free, scratch-free, that it actually got more dents because I scratched the wheels once trying to park it so close to the curb that no one could dent the doors. And I ended up just trading the car in anyways to the dealership. They don't care if it has 3 dents or 3 scratches. They literally don't care. The market is so hot right now that it's just a black Mustang GT with 40,000 miles, and they're gonna sell it for 35. You know what I mean? So unless you're gonna keep the car for your entire life, and you're gonna lie to yourself and you say, this is a keeper, I'm gonna keep this forever. But if you look at your history, you've always traded in your Mustangs every 3 to 5 years, right? So it is what it is. So don't be OCD about the paint, and just don't be, what else? The oil change intervals, just be normal with that as well. I mean, like, I switched to Mobile 1 and I got a valve cover leak after switching to Mobile 1. So I don't see, like, that was more risk than reward, honestly, because am I keeping the car for 10 years to see the benefits, to see the engine go, instead of going 250,000 miles with Ford's semi-synthetic oil, to like switching to a Mobile 1 and then it gets, you know, 300,000 miles or 350,000? Like, are you gonna keep it for 40 years? You think you are, but you're not really gonna do that. So just don't be an idiot. It's more important to just change it regularly than it is to really focus on like the OCD specifics about car washing or oil change. You know, like Bob's the oil guy and go and reading oil analysis. That's all fun and everything, and which is great. You can get into all that, but essentially just like go have fun with your car, go drive your car, have fun with your car. And that's all I got for today's video. 3,000 mile update. The Cup 2 tires still feel awesome, still feel great. I'm riding around in Sport Plus. I can just kick it back down to normal, and you've got normal everything since it's past 9 o'clock. And if I wasn't making a video, I'd have it down in Sport, so the transmission's more responsive. And yeah, that's it. It's just a blast to drive. So I'll kick it down in Sport Plus. It goes down into 8th gear, and you just barely give it gas, and it just kicks up into 5th. The shifting firmness, it just shifts firm. It's just such a bad car. If you haven't driven one, you got to go drive a handling package car. If you've only driven a 15 to 17, it's such an upgrade. A handling package car. If you've only driven a 15 to 17, go drive like a handling package car, Mach 1, that's 21. And you know, like in 19 to the GT 350s, they changed the suspension parts, the aero parts, and they incorporated that on the 21 Mach 1 handling packages. So you've got a lot of the aero suspension technology on the Mach 1, and it just makes it's a game changer. It's totally different. It's pretty amazing. I don't ever even use the paddle shifters, because there's really no sense in using the paddle shifters. It shifts itself so good. And this car just eats as far as handling. I mean, the biggest thing is you're probably gonna get a ticket, because this thing drives so, it's so fun. It gives you so much confidence as far as handling, that you're gonna be driving like an idiot. You're gonna be driving like a total idiot, basically. So yeah. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. Let's see if this Tesla wants to race me. Probably does. Anyways, the Mach 1, like I said, if you haven't driven one, you gotta go drive one. It's probably the most fun. It's like the Fiesta ST was a lot more fun than the Mustang, the 15 performance package, as far as a driver's car. And if you don't understand that, then you gotta drive more cars, because you need to drive driver's cars. They're literally so fun, and this is a driver's car. And I would rate this on like a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 as far as fun to drive. So thanks for watching, guys. Go test drive you a Mustang Mach 1 handling package, and hopefully that answers some questions for you guys. And I'll subscribe if you'd like to see more Mustang and automotive news, and I'll catch you in the next video.